Hey guys, what is up? Wait for a few y'all to pop up. It's been a while since I've been live. I'm actually here in the man cave, not in the actual studio right now, even though I have a bunch of gear that we could sit there and go live on. But I just figured I'd come out here, and if you guys want to talk some kayak fishing tonight, we can do that. A little Q&A. I'm out here in my garage. I was working on some kayaks, man. I've got the Trident. I'm doing some modifications too, and I've got the new 2020 Old Town Predator PDL. What's up, Mark? How you doing, brother? And then I've got some other kayaks here that I have some projects for. I kind of want to do a kayak giveaway, dude. To give you guys, or to be honest with you guys, I have a kayak here that I've never really used, and I'm thinking about doing a giveaway on it. Maybe whenever we're getting close to 10K on YouTube, so I'm thinking about doing that. We'll see. What do you guys think? What's up, Luis? How you doing, man? Let's see. Let me see how I can see these chats a little more. There we go. How do I like the new prep? Man, I love it, dude. What's up, Slot City? Shout out to Mark and Slot City Fishing. I love the new Predator PDL. I've got a video that we're getting ready to release this week. It's the basically review of it. You know, I mean, I guess a review can be seen in a few different ways. You know, some guys may want to see like a performance review. Some of it just details front and back. This is just kind of like sort of a review of it at a glance. I mean, I think everybody pretty much knows what it can and can't do on the water. I've got plenty of videos on that people can reflect on, and if people have specific questions on that, I guess I can answer those in comments. But what we're going to be going over on that video, whenever it releases later this week, is we're going to be talking about the changes, what they've done, how they've answered. Really, not so much my questions. I mean, really, this is more about the guys that have been on that kayak for years. They've fixed a lot of things, man, and there actually is some minimal hole design or hole tweaks on it that you guys will see. It's pretty interesting stuff. Outdoors with Mars. What's up, man? Friday. I think that's what you said. Hang on. Let me fix a few things. I'm out here in the garage. I was working on some kayaks, and there we go. Now I can see it. It's been a while since I've been live with you guys on YouTube. We moved I'm almost done with it, man. The podcast is gonna be full blown audio and video, but I think we're just gonna release like power clips of it on probably Facebook. But I'll leave you guys a link for it, man. If you guys have iPhones or Android, whatever, right, it's going to be across all the platforms to watch or to hear a podcast. I'm actually, it's 100% done and ready, locked and loaded. Some of y'all may have been wondering, how come we haven't gone live on Thursdays? It's because we moved it to a full podcast. So once we get those links up, I'll be sure to update you guys. I guess I could do that in the community part of it, where if I post up a picture, what have you, you guys will get that. It'll be a lot of fun, man. Talk about a lot of things that people probably don't have the opportunity to see or to know about in the community, or at least what I can talk about. So what's up, John? How y'all doing, man? Everyone, come on here. Talk a little kayak fishing, dude. If you guys have any questions, I've got a couple seminars lined up. You guys in the Corpus Christi area, I'll let you guys know. They're going to be real quick. My record player sitting too much more. Yeah. One thing that I want to do, though, it's going to be pretty cool. Our podcasting is going to sort of tie in. Camilo from Austin, how you doing, man? this summer, what you guys are gonna get a cool opportunity to. I'm gonna invite guests over, and they're gonna become part of the episode. It's gonna be really cool, man. Um, and you'll get to see the video production of it, sort of behind the scenes. Like we'll continue to do that, right? But if you want the pre-story, or if you want to get into a little bit more details on some of these people who I invite, sorry about that. Sorry about that. We had a little hiccup there. Somebody was calling me. I'm on my phone. I'm not in the studio right now. I'll be in the studio later. But yeah, man, if y'all tune in on that, y'all see that. Y'all see that big change. Let me see here. There we go. Make sure I can see all my. All right, there we go. So that's sort of what's going to happen with the behind the scenes. I can't wait, man. It's cool because you get to see a little bit more about it, right? So you'll get to come in, listen to a podcast, and then if you want to see what happens the day after, well, then of course it'll be on YouTube. So our podcast and behind the scenes are going to sort of tie in together with some of them special guests, dude. Some of them not. Some of them you guys may be fishing with some of you guys. I'm gonna be bringing in maybe longtime fans of the show that maybe we've never had a chance to meet, and anybody who just wants to come down, hang out, and have a good time and get in between some of our content with our behind the scenes and podcast. Gives us an opportunity to get out there and meet some of you guys. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. But if you guys have any questions, man, if y'all are new to kayak fishing, let me know. If y'all have any questions about the sport, whether it can be anything, man, safety, lures. I fish predominantly Texas, so, I guess some of the techniques can carry over into, like, Louisiana. Would be a good side-by-side comparison, sort of pound for pound. 2020 meet and greet. Yeah, possible. Possible. I don't know. Actually, I tell you what. We have a huge not the YouTube channel. Ooh, I went to the. Oh, okay. We have. I'm gonna be at the Corpus Christi, or actually, I forget what it's called. It's the big meet and greet that we have here in Corpus. It's going to be this year. It's going to be Justin Stiles sort of leads it. I will be there possibly guest speaking and maybe even running a little bit of a backyard tournament. But don't take my word or don't quote me on that yet. We're still kind of figuring out all the details. That'll be a big meet and greet. If you guys have never been to a meet and greet, that's the one to go to here in Corpus. That one is like, I think we've pulled like 200-300 people before, and this year I'm going to be a part of that. I was a part of it last year, but this year I'm sort of a little bit more into it. So you can look that up on Facebook. So yeah, but an NLF meet and greet, yeah, we'll think about that. I don't know, man. It's tough to squeeze one of those. Maybe I can do a yearly one. Ernesto, what's up, man? It's just tough with the way the format of behind the scenes and then the way we do the full production and then some of the demo days that we're going to be doing this year on top of the podcasting. I will try very hard to do a next level fishing meet and greet. That'd be cool. Right now, I definitely want to give away a kayak. Not right now, but once we creep up on 10K on YouTube, I think we're not that far away. I think a little bit over 1,000. I don't know. I've got to look. We're almost there. So once we hit that, I'm thinking about giving away a kayak. But the thing is I don't know how to do I don't know all the logistics. Like, what if somebody wins who's from New Zealand? Like, I've actually had to send lures to New Zealand. I don't know how it's in a kayak to New Zealand. Like, that would be a lot of work. So I may have rules to where they have to be from a certain area to participate. But just look forward to that as we hit 10K. We are thinking, I'm thinking about giving away a kayak. I'm gonna rig it out, fully load it, and it won't be like a. It'll be like $1,000 package. You know, I mean it's free. It's not like a super high end kayak, but it's good enough to get. It's a safe kayak to start off with. I'll tell you that much. And that's sort of how I want to funnel it. You know, if you're in a really nice kayak already, may not want to be interested in it, but we'll get into all those details. We're still far away from that, so. Camilo, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, definitely, man. We always appreciate that, dude. So, our style's different, you know. We don't push out 101 videos a week, but we are now down to like a video a week, and sometimes we range now from one to two videos a week now, which is crazy. We wanted to see what the upside of that was, and it's helped out tremendous, man. I think we took a little hit on some analytics and statistics, but that was due to something that was kind of out of our control, and we sort of passed that phase, and now we can see some good numbers, and we're actually doing pretty well right now. So we're pretty happy about that. We'll continue to push out content since we obviously have seen an increase. Videos coming up. What can you guys expect? So, all right, we have besides fishing, I have plenty of fishing videos coming up, but what you guys can expect here very soon, this week at least, is we're going to be doing the Predator review. If you've never seen any of our kayak fishing reviews, go check them out, dude. We don't have very many, but we really, I enjoy filming them. So we have one with the Trident 15, which is right next to me, the Old Town Predator, and I think I have one of a Malibu, but you'd have to dig into some, I think it was a couple years ago. So you look forward to a complete review of the 2020. As of recently, if you just want to get like a first impressions, we've got 3 kayaks that I recently got on. You can dig back on this, not this playlist, but on the behind the scenes playlist. It was the Predator, the Topwater, and the Native Titan. Those are all 3 of those are really cool kayaks and have their place, you know. So if you guys are in that market, definitely check that out. But okay, sorry, I got off track there. So up next we have a Predator PDL full review, and I think you guys are gonna like this, man. If you guys are on a Predator or have that in your mind as a possible kayak, man, really pay attention to what I discuss on this video, because it's very similar to my previous Predator PDL review, but it's very different, man. They've answered a lot of issues, not issues, but they've answered a lot of what people wanted out of the Predator PDL, and a lot of people don't even know like those changes. I'm surprised there's not more people talking about them, but we'll go over them here this week. And then I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about taking care of your reels. That's going to be a real quick video. I'm going to give you guys the top 5 things you guys can do on taking care of your reels, man. I cannot tell you guys how many messages I get about, hey, what do you do to take care of your reels since you're on the water so much? How long do they last? You know, is a $40 reel gonna last as long as a $100 reel? You know, the questions go on and on. And you know, I'm no doctor or surgeon on reel internals. I mean, I know the basics. I can pull one apart, but to get into like a full cleaning, like to where you're breaking everything 100% apart, that's sort of where I draw my line. I don't go past that. I'll give it to somebody to do that. But I can take it out, clean the gearing, and break it down maybe like 60-70% down. Depends on how difficult the reel is. But there are a lot of things to consider. So I'm going to give you guys a top 5 of things to do so that you can make your reels in the saltwater last long. So that's coming. And then after that, I've got like 2 fishing episodes that I'm going to release here pretty soon. Should be a lot of fun, man. Some of you guys asked questions. Y'all go ahead and ask whatever questions y'all want, man. Hang on here. Cuero, what's up from South Texas? What's up? Hey, I'm from South Texas too, man. What part of South Texas are you from? All right, let me go. There's some questions here. So I'll definitely spread the word. 10K, here you come. All right, hey, man, I love the channel. I fish in Louisiana. What would you throw for reds in the marsh in dirty water? So, Derek, I don't know what level of angler you are, but obviously your redfish, they can see and detect moving bait a few different ways. When water clarity is superb, obviously they can see UV. They can see the shades and things like that. Um, uh, Hopefully, most of you guys know fish don't see in color. But when the water turns up and it gets dirty, redfish, I mean, a lot of different fish do. They hunt differently, so they don't rely on their vision, even though they still can use their vision. But what they do is they start to use their lateral lines, and so most fish have lateral lines. What those do is they sense vibration in the water, and it's my dog, by the way. So yeah, we're back. We're in the backyard here, in the garage. Uh, Most fish will, use their lateral lines to hunt, and a good indicator for this is, have you ever been out there when the water's just dirty, mucky, and you're driving your kayak and you can hit your hole, and all of a sudden you'll see all the mullet ripple, all the reds fling out. That's them using those lateral lines. They can sense that vibration in the water, and it is like super, super. The frequency, the littlest noise that just isn't right. It's amazing what they can detect, and they know it's not natural. So, to answer your question, when the water's dirty, man, I look for a lure. Depends on the depth, but I want something that's going to give some vibration and something that's going to offset the color. So, you can turn into your dark earthy colors, your browns, your blacks, even your whites. It just depends, man. And it also depends on what the fish are doing. I mean, if you're targeting bait or reds that are pushing bait and they're on the surface and the water's dirty, it almost kind of doesn't matter. You just got to make the right cast. But if you're fishing low in dirty water, do something that's it's going to give some vibration to help that fish kind of pick up and detect. And always try and match the hatch. So if they're hitting mullet, use some sort of a mullet-looking lure. If they're hitting shrimp, go into your fluorescence, your UV. I use that UV matrix a lot on my episodes, man. You guys see me using that a lot, especially in the marsh. And there's a reason for that, Your pinks do real well, even in a little bit of dirtier water. It just depends, man. I'm a big fan of paddle tails, top waters, if the conditions are right, and the time of year. Jerk style baits, I love using those in the winter. If you guys have seen our trout videos, which we've been doing a lot of recently in these colder months, you'll notice that we use those a lot to help create reaction strikes. So I hope that answered your question, man. If it didn't, let me know. Let me go here. Reds and marsh. Yeah, Derek. So, there's just different factors, man. What are those reds doing and how are they moving? Are you bottom fishing? Are they pushing bait? Are you sight casting? And I think that's what would help distinguish what you're going to use. Ernesto, hashtag next level fishing TV. What up? What's up from South Texas? Deep South, Brownsville, SPI. Man, I'm going to be there this year a few times. Want to buy my first kayak. All right, so Benito Juarez says he wants to buy his first kayak, man. That's a big question, dude, and a question that a lot of people have. So, first thing you need to, I would recommend, and somebody might have a different approach on this, but I always tell people, safety checks first, and then let's worry about fishing. And safety checks first definitely goes back to what kind of kayak I should get. So if you want to get into kayak fishing, you need to sort of look at yourself first. How much do you weigh? Are you short? Are you tall? That can change a lot of, whether you're low center of gravity and a lot of weight, or are you tall? So then now you got a tall center of gravity and a lot of weight. Unfortunately, the taller you are, the more top heavy you are, and you won't have enough. You're going to lose some performance. And what I mean by that is you're going to be able to rock a boat a lot easier than somebody who's shorter and chunkier, like me. Once you consider your weight, you need to go and look for a kayak that is within a weight threshold. The biggest mistake people make is, my name's John, and I weigh 200 pounds, and I just go out and buy a kayak that just looks like it can hold me, but you really got to figure out, like, all right, well, what is this kayak rated for? If it's rated for 300 pounds, then you might say, oh, well, cool, all right, I'm only 200 pounds. But what you got to consider is that between your weight and that 300 pounds, you only have 100 pounds to work with before that water line sinks and the performance of that kayak is completely changed. So take your weight, take how much pounds of fish and gear you think you might take, and then look at all the kayaks that are available for you on that weight scale. And then from there, you can kind of separate, all right, well, how much do I want to pay for a kayak? There's paddle, there's pedal. You got to choose which muscles you want to train. You know, if you want to be a paddling kayak, I still am a paddling kayaker, and that's how I started. But those are things you got to consider. You know, both muscle groups require. My dog is gonna make this phone trip. Get back! Get over there. Both kayaks require a different muscle group, obviously. Your arms, you can train them to take you, as long as you have a good paddling kayak, you can cover the same amount of distance paddling and pedaling. Now, depending on weather environments and how well built up you are, yeah, there's gonna be there's a difference between pedaling through wind and paddling through wind, but that's all conditioning, man. That's all conditioning. I can still paddle in the right kayak in 25-mile-an-hour winds, and I can do that pedaling, if not more, on a bulkier kayak. So, you know, that's the next step: pedal or paddle. What do you want to do? And whatever you do, make sure you look into proper paddle and paddle strokes. That can help you out a lot, man, on longevity, saving your rotator cuff. You know, a bad stroke, if you're digging down and you're just using your arms, man, dude, this right here, you'll be one and done. I can guarantee you, if you're healthy, if you're the type of paddler that does not know how to use the core of your back, and you're just straight rotator, if you're in your prime, I can guarantee you that rotator cuff is going to be destroyed in less than 10 years. And that's if you are an athlete, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind, dude. Now, if you want to go into the pedal industry, the prices are going down. They're still expensive. You know, 1,800 I think is the cheapest, give or take. But pedaling is less taxing initially on the body. If you do pedal, the disadvantages to that is you're burning more calories. You know, you're working larger muscle groups. If and when you cramp with those muscle groups, it can destroy you. It really can stop you. And more than likely, if you're in a pedal kayak, it's not going to be a good paddling kayak. So you just need to pick your poison, man. There's give and takes on both pedal and paddle. I wish I knew your price range. If you could tell me your price range, I could tell you some brands right now that I would at least say, hey, consider. So that's how I answer that question. Brother, looking awesome with the beard. You like that beard? Full armor bassin'. What's up, dude? I enjoy your videos, man. I enjoy your videos. I saw your video, the funny one, where you put all the little bloopers and you sort of rewound a bunch of your old content. That was cool, man. That was cool. I enjoyed your stuff. So we got some YouTubers in the house, man. What is going on? Benito, if you are anywhere near Corpus, if you have us on Facebook, whatever, whether it's me personally or the show page, reach out to me, man. I'll give you some options. I will give you some options, dude. So, what else do you guys want to know? Thinking about trading my Cuda 14, looking for a Viking Pro Fish Reload or Jackson Big Red, but open to other yaks. Okay, so you are obviously a paddler, Luis. The Cuda is a really good kayak. It's I got nothing bad to say about the Cuda, but I understand as you get older in age, this is what happens to us. A lot of us start off in big, bulky kayaks, right? We're young, and we can paddle anything. You know, can't stop us. We're unstoppable. But as a kayak angler matures, as he is putting more time on the water and his body is wearing and tearing, a lot of us tend to start, we go light, man. You can see it. Nobody has to tell you this. Just look at all the guys who spent a lot of time on the water. We're sort of going to lighter kayaks, lighter. because it's just less effort that you're going to have to exert on the body. And paddling a Cuda, depending on how much you paddle, that can be taxing on your body, dude. That's a big kayak, man. Yeah, the Viking Reload is a phenomenal kayak, dude. You're gonna enjoy it. There are a couple of kayaks in that caliber or in that class that will achieve the same speed, have the same weight load, give or take. The Viking Reload, they did chip off on their mold, so they're a thinner mold than like an Ocean Trident. So that's how they're able to shave off a lot of that weight. But you will get similar performance between a Trident 15 and a Viking Reload. The Viking Reload is a little bit quicker off the start since it's a lighter kayak. So don't quote me on this, but I'm just giving you like an example of what I mean. You may take 5 strokes to reach your max speed on a reload. On something that's a little heavier, you may take 6.5. But top end speed is about the same. I think the reload may be a little bit faster, but you probably won't notice, dude. But both those kayaks, I always love to compare the Trident and the Reload because they're just well designed, man. Well designed. The Reload actually took a little bit from the Trident and implemented on their design. It's got a little bit higher rocker. The only thing I don't like about the Reloads is the internal hole capacity or capabilities aren't there. You have to rely on a pod, but you can't go wrong. Check out there's a scupper that's coming out. I know what else is there that's about within that. The scupper, the Trident, the Stealth. If you got the will to spend $3K on a paddling kayak, that's the fastest kayak on the market by far. But now you're dipping into something that's not even rotomold, which is the traditional plastic you see. Now you're going to fiberglass and carbon and stuff like that. But those kayaks are the fastest kayaks on the market. It's not a pedal kayak. The fastest kayak on the market is a pedal kayak. I'm sorry, a paddle. That is the Stealth. Those kayaks you can push 8 miles an hour. If you're an athlete and you know what you're doing, which most kayak anglers don't, including myself, when it comes down to like a true Olympic stroke, you could probably push that over 10 miles an hour easy and sustain it. But those are a few to consider. Can't go wrong with that Viking though, and that's coming from somebody who can't even get in one, dude. I work with ACK and we don't have Vikings in there right now. Kind of tough to get. So who's winning the Super Bowl? Ooh. Whew, man, dude. Oh, man, dude. Let's see. I don't like either one of these teams, to be honest with you, Mars. If I'm going to put my money, if I'm a betting man, which I actually am, it's a tough one, dude. I would go Kansas City. Oh, I already got... All right. Don't... Yeah. Oh, man, dude. It's tough. Dude, that's going to be a great matchup, man. It's going to be a great matchup either way. Would you ever buy a solo skiff? Yeah, I would. But, I mean, I could get one. I could have got one instead of the Old Town, but that's just not where I find, covering ground isn't what I'm going for. My goal as a kayak angler is to fish every spot between point A and point B of a boat and catch every fish that boat passed up. I always tell that. I've had the rare opportunity to win a boating tournament, an offshore tournament against boats, and I told that to one of the guys that we beat, and he didn't like that very much. Oh, man. Let's see. 49ers, yep. Los Cowboys, man. I'm sorry, dude. Luis, you don't even want to go there with me, dude. We're going to stop it right there because I'm a Texans fan, dude. I grew up most of my life actually in Houston. So, yeah, my ex, the Oilers, hey, man, they left me, so I had to wait 10 years almost for a new team, if that. Yeah, about 10 years. My buddy let me borrow his kayak. Hang on. Oh. Let me read up. Man, let me see a kayak. And we went out last year 4 hours, and it wore me out. Great advice, paddling. Yeah, it's a build full armor. You know, it's a builder. People freak out, dude. I still have more endurance, and I still have more miles with my shoulders than I do pedaling. Still to this day, it's just muscle memory, man. Paddling is very taxing initially, but once you spend, like, if you were to spend 6 months just paddling every weekend, you're gonna notice that you just don't feel it anymore, dude. Now, when I pedal, I can paddle. I can do a 20-mile tour easy within a day, and I'm tired, but I can still go to the mall. I can still go out and eat, and I'm not like crashing over. But when I do that on a pedal, still, I'm done, dude. Like, I'm not in the cramping mode or anything like that. Like, I got plenty of juice. It's just when I get out, I feel it, man, because those muscles in your legs, you're working everything from your toes to your torso. That's a lot of muscle, dude. Those are your major muscle groups, man, and it wears on you, dude. You get hungrier. I notice I eat more on the water now that I pedal a lot. Whereas when I'm pedaling, it's just muscle memory. You build it up, but at the end of the day, I feel like I'm not using as much. I'm not burning as much calories paddling. But that's after being able to work both muscle groups to where you're equivalent. Which I'm still a little bit of a stronger paddler than I am a peddler. Let me go down on these. I'm starting to get some questions here. Legend, come out to San Diego. Let's go for yellowtails and white bass. Man, brother, I wish I could get out there to San Diego. I have a friend, the guy that was on our episode when we went to go get that freshwater redfish. If you guys hadn't seen it, go check it out, man. That's a fun one. The guy that was on the phone that I was talking to, his name's David Villarreal. He was the guy who has been there to catch those fish, and he's invited me in before in the past, and I would love to go and visit y'all's waters, man. I appreciate that, dude. Man, you don't have to call me a legend, dude. Oh, man, because then you guys know that saying, legends never die, and, I eventually want to die. Oh, man. All right, let's see here. Old Town Predator XL kayak with Minn Kota motor, merging from kayak in Austin. Big merge, maybe. Dude, Old Town and Minn Kota have been in business for a very long time, my friend. Hang on. Whoa. But I don't know if I read that right. Hang on. Let's see what you're trying to say here. Merging from kayaking in Austin. I didn't know if you meant like their merger, as in the companies. They work together. So they're all Johnson Outdoors. So Ocean Kayak, Minn Kota, Old Town, all the same company. Johnson, or all the same under the Johnson umbrella. I guess I should say. It's funny you bring that up, though. We're going into the next revolution of kayak fishing, which is a lot of electric motors, and why not, right? That's sort of where the future of everything is going. Electric motors. You got Bixby, and you got who's the other one? I can't think of the other one. Torqeedo. Bixby and Torqeedo. They're leading that whole revolution into motorizing kayaks. I have some announcements to make on that. We're going places, and I'm gonna help enlighten you guys, show the spotlight on where that is all going. I'm excited about that, but I'm still sort of in the talks with a few things. But believe it or not, and Ernesto, if you're still on here, the name of that kayak that you have, throw it out there on the comment. Electric motors is actually old tech, and it's been done by it's been done by Ocean Kayak before. It's been done by a few kayaks, but it never caught on back in the days. And I'm talking about 10 years ago. It's finally caught up and people are starting to take interest. There's a few major tournaments in the industry now that have adopted using motorized going. But it's tough, dude. I mean, if you're a paddler, do you want to go up against somebody who has a motor on his kayak? If you're a peddler, do you want to go against somebody who has a motor on their kayak? Comment below, dude. Let me know your thoughts on that. But that's where the line can be drawn. But that's also where the industry is crossing over that line. And some major tournaments have adopted and are just let them have it. That's where it's all going. Let me. Okay, so my kayak can go where boats can't. Wait, hang on. I'm skipping questions. All right, you guys are letting those questions rip now. All right, what should a reply be when someone says you could get a boat for that much money? Trident driver. You can tell them, go tell them to pick up Kayak Angler magazine and check out how Chris Castro and company challenged some boaters and beat them in $1 million boats, a few $1,000s worth of gas. Why get a boat when you can beat them in plastic? That's what I would tell them, dude. I'm just joking. Don't tell them that. But let me tell you what's different about whenever you talk to somebody about boats and kayaks and comparing the two, and there's that legion, which one do you belong to? It's the feeling, dude. It's a lot of people, not us, right? We enjoy fishing. A lot of people here enjoy fishing. But a lot of the world thinks that fishing is kind of boring, dude. You're just sitting there. That's how fishing is portrayed. A lot of people won't even consider fishing like kayakers, athletes, boaters. They don't even consider them athletes. Whereas us who are in the industry, well, we do consider ourselves. I don't consider myself an athlete, but like your bass guys that are going for $100,000 purses, like those are athletes, dude. They're putting they're losing a lot of sleep. They're putting a lot of effort, spending a lot of money. It's just a different form of athleticism. But kayak fishing is different, man. It's first off, it's not when you're on a boat, you're fighting the fish. When you're on a kayak, you're fighting the fish, but you're also going on a ride. You're going on a sleigh ride. It's a completely different animal. It's close combat fishing. It's very different when you compare landing a fish on a boat and landing a fish right next to you. Now, you may not notice a big thrill on if it's a bass. It's about the same if it's a bass, but it's whenever you start to really challenge yourself and you're starting to go after some monsters, fish that are larger than your kayak, and you've got that thing right next to you, dude. It's just it's a little bit, it's harder, it's more challenging. There's a lot more brain snaps. It's making the fishing a lot more difficult, and there's just a little bit more calculation, man. You can get hurt, you can die doing this, especially when fighting big fish. It's just, I feel like kayak fishing is bringing the sport back into fishing, if that makes any sense. Or it's elevated. I don't want to agree with the guys who don't say that, but I'm serious. Like, if I show somebody who thinks that fishing is boring and I show them 3 different ways of fishing, kayak fishing is probably going to have the most action of it all, dude. And they will be mind blown of the amount of how large of a species we can actually target and put on these kayaks. People freak out. We don't, because we see it, right? But they do. And that's how I would tell them. I would, because I got boater friends, dude. I got boater friends that are captains. I got nothing against. I love fishing, dude. I can fish on a boat. My pleasure, my adrenaline, my just what wakes me up in the morning where I can't wake up for work is in kayak fishing, dude. So that's sort of my DNA. And I enjoy every bit of it, dude. I really, really do. How many kayaks? Oh, wait. It is crazy. The only workout doing water is casting and eating the whole time. That's funny, fool. How many kayaks do you have now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 kayaks. Some of them are collectors. I had 7, but I got rid of 2. I got rid of all of my. Oh no, I'm sorry. I have 3 Malibus. I got rid of 2. I kept 1. I have a Vibe. I have a special edition from straight from New Zealand, Viking 440. It's a New Zealand special. I have the Trident 15, Old Town Predator, and then I used to have the X13 and Malibu Stealth 14. I used to have all those. But now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm down to 5. And which one is your favorite? Which one is my favorite? Eric Molina. It's a good question, man. Which kayak do I have that's my favorite? So, 2 of them are my favorite. They're all my favorite, dude. I get attached to my kayaks, man, because I've done certain things, and it's hard for me to sell. I don't sell kayaks very often. I'm selling one of my second kayak here pretty soon. So everything's territorial, right? So I'm versatile in kayak fishing. I have done a lot of extreme offshore and calm, cool, lake and inshore saltwater fishing. So I let the territory and the environment sort of dictate what I'm going to be in. My favorite kayak right now for that, if I'm going and battling big water, big fish, I need speed, I need to break through 3 to 5 foot surf, and I need to come home unscathed in that surf, and have whole capacity for big, large game. I'm going with the Trident 15. It's the kayak that I've had, I think, going on 2.5 years now. It's a kayak that I've landed a 57.5-inch kingfish. It's a kayak that I landed the sailfish in. I've landed some good snapper, amongst a lot of other offshore species. I can go on and on about that. That, for me, is the perfect offshore paddling kayak. For me. The Viking is great, too. I like to store my fish a certain way, and the Trident is the only kayak that allows me to do that. For inshore, big bays, lakes, or a calm offshore day, I go with the Old Town Predator PDL. There's a give and take. I always talk about that. There's no such thing as a perfect kayak, and I talk about that on mostly all my reviews. I don't like to be biased on anything. I like to give you guys the truth, and keep it real. If it's a cool, calm day offshore and I'm not having to battle any surf, I'll take that Old Town Predator any day because, in Texas we have exposed oil platforms. We've got a lot of structure exposed, both exposed and under. And one of our biggest prize species here in Texas is the cobia, but you're in a battle for your life, dude, when you catch a cobia. I had a huge scare this past year. I almost had one jump on the kayak. Cobia, if you've never experienced one that's mad, their gills flare out almost like a bass, dude. Almost like a largemouth bass. And their head starts shaking almost like a tarpon. And half of its body got out and it was swimming towards me. Like, never had a fish turn, look at me, come at me, and come up. Like that fish just wasn't scared of me. You know what I mean? Anyway, long story short, that Predator PDL has the ability to reverse and pull fish out of structure. You're still not going to be able to pull a cobia with that thing. You just won't have enough torque. Like that cobia is going to have its way with you, but you'll have a huge, huge advantage just to be able to pump, even if it's just a few, and pull fish away from structure. You can control king initially. Just depends on how he strikes. And everything else you should be able to pull out of there, like your snapper, maybe some smaller gag grouper, Spanish mackerel, reds, black drum I've even caught out there, trigger fish, little things like that. There's a lot of little smaller species that we have. So the problem with the PDL offshore is that in Texas, our stuff is sloppy, man. It's dangerous, dude, in Texas. We have a shallow shell. So it doesn't, the weather doesn't need to marinate before things get crazy, man. And that kayak just, you can feel the difference between an Ocean 15, Trident 15, and an Old Town. That Old Town is fantastic. It has its limits. And if you play with that kayak within its limits, you're going to enjoy that kayak probably a little bit more than the Trident. But when your limits are tested and you're battling and you gotta go through hell, Trident 13 is my kayak, dude. That kayak, even in some sketchy water situations, you were just glued to the water. I love it. All right, let me get down to these questions. All right, electric is good till it hits like mine. Chucky. Yeah, dude. You would know, man. Some inside jokes there. Looking around 500 to 600 tops on price range, paddle style, and yes, I'm close to CC. Ooh, you're gonna get more bang for your buck looking for a good used kayak in that price range. See if you can find an old Vibe, but just be careful. The Vibe Sea Ghost is actually a pretty good kayak, as long as you don't put it in an environment it doesn't belong in. You may be able to find the older ones for about that. If not, you're gonna probably have to, if you want something new in that price range, you're probably gonna have to start off like in a Pelican. But here's the thing, man. You know, Pelican is a different mold. It's a thermal mold. Just make sure that whatever one you pick, if you do decide to go that way, obviously make sure it's a sit on top, but make sure it's the right weight for you. People get in trouble with Pelicans all the time down here, and I'm not bashing Pelican. They make great kayaks. They brought a lot of people into our industry because initially that's all we can afford, So if you do that, keep payload in mind. Sit on top. Make sure it's a good paddle. Make sure you're comfortable. And go to a demo, dude. If you can, go to a demo. But just think about those things before you make that purchase. And look for used kayaks. You may find one. So there's some Pelicans. There's Vibe, the Sea Ghost. You may even be able to get into a shorter stock kayak, like a Malibu. The Trio is a good one that's in that price range. And I think Vibe also makes, it's a yellowfin, I think it's called. It's smaller, it's nimble, but it's in that price range, and it's good for the money. All right. Oh, man, you guys are asking some good questions. What are your thoughts on the Vibe Shearwater 125? All right. So the Vibe Shearwater, first off, I've never touched it. I've never been on it. But I've known that kayak was coming out for a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about that kayak. That kayak. So he's the owner, right? He's the CEO. Big fan. From what I know, I used to do a little bit of work with Vibe back in the days. If you guys have seen some of our older content, he had always kind of promised that he was working on an offshore style boat, but he wanted it to be extremely versatile, and I'm guessing this is it. This is what he's been working on for a long time. I can tell you firsthand, just by looking at it, the bow, or if you're new to kayak fishing, that's the nose of the kayak. It demands performance, dude. That's an excellent design. I really love it. It kind of reminds me of the bow that is on the Malibu X13, which is, don't take offense to this if any Malibu guys are listening. It's a little bit of a knockoff of the Ocean Trident rocker, but they shaved a little bit of the bottom, so it's kind of like has that point. And don't get me wrong, dude. A lot of kayaks have used the Trident 15 as their base model, and then they start creating something into their own right. Regardless of what anybody says, kayak fishing is a copycat industry, like a lot of things, even the NFL. When somebody designs a great play, it doesn't take long for everybody else to adopt it, right? I think that I love it, man. We don't have that at ACK, but I think that's going to be a very powerful kayak. I made a statement earlier. The one thing about Vibe that I will give them props to is they've always paid attention to their customers, their clients, and they've always answered their needs and wants. And a lot of people have been wanting this kayak, dude, for a long time, and it looks promising. It's built for all 3 generations, so it's got the whole design to paddle, it's got the whole design to pedal, and it's got the future capabilities to put in your motors, dude. So that's a very well thought through kayak, and even though, with me being a part of the ACK family, and I don't think we carry vibe. I don't think at all. And this is coming, and like I said, I'm being very transparent here. Man, I would love for them to come to ACK just to test one out. I'm happy with where I'm at between my Oceans and Johnson outdoor boats. I wouldn't consider changing over, but I just would love to get on that kayak and to really get a feel for it and admire it and have the ability, opportunity to actually review it. It looks like a fun kayak. So consider it, man. I'll be straight up with you. Consider it. It's shaking up the market. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Trident Driver 1987 says motors should not be allowed in kayak tournaments. I couldn't disagree with you, man. I'm on the same boat as you, but it's changing, whether we like it or not. Unfortunately, but I try not to let things get to me too much. If you got a motor, I'll still go head up with you. Any kayak tournaments in Corpus area? Man, do we have kayak tournaments like every weekend, it seems, Luis. They're kind of at a standstill right now, but expect them to begin to pick up here towards the end of February. You're going to get some kayaks for a very long, kayak tournaments. You're going to have them for a very long time. There's a lot of online tournaments, by the way, Luis, to answer your question. Don't underestimate these grassroots tournaments that we have. They're small Facebook groups, and these guys pack a punch, man. They have a lot of little tournaments that are just like 20, 15, 20, maybe 30 anglers. And those are fun, dude. They're super fun. There's a couple of trout tournaments, so that's sort of the thing right now in South Texas this time of year. So there's a couple of online trout tournaments that are CPR that are going on. One of them is from Couples Kayak Fishing or something. Couples, I don't know. How far should I troll a skirt behind my kayak? I think you're referring to a one of these. When you say skirt, did I show you guys belly? I think you're talking about a drift sock. Depends on the water depth, man. Depends on the water depth. With a kayak, you can keep it close and you can keep it in still an effective range, but you need to make sure that you have it sort of on a trolley system, and that you also have a cord. So this is where it's going to be attached from, right? This part right here, which then opens up and catches all your water volume and slows your troll. This is going to go straight to your kayak, and you're going to want it in arm's reach. But let me tell you a little secret, man. A lot of people don't realize on a kayak, at the very end of this, see that right there? Always have a drawstring on that. Because what ends up happening is if you need to get somewhere in a hurry or you need to avoid something, if it's an emergency situation, you still have to pull this towards you. The more water you have, you're going to pull yourself to it. But if you have it rigged up to where you can yank on a cord, also on the back end, what you end up doing is when all the water is flushing, you can actually cut that out, and then you cut all the water, all the water resistance, and all of a sudden it just becomes loose like a flat air balloon, and you'll get it to you very rapidly. So I would say, if you're in 3-4 foot of water, let's say, maybe fishing some moderately deep grass, and if you have a good trolley set up to where you can angle it and drift certain ways, I don't know, maybe go like 6 feet in a kayak. I think that's really all you need, man. Amen to that, bro. Estimated 600-pound mounted cotton Los Buzos. You see that? Yes, dude. Trident, yes, I did see that, man. Holy smokes. Adam Fisk. I've been in talks with him for about 6 months already. We're trying to get a trip together. I want to take you guys there, man. I've got the funds. The funds are in, but it's the timing. I got to orchestrate the timing. I need to get my passport, and I want to take you guys there, dude. And we'll do that the next level way, right? I got to roll, buddy. Great times. God bless you, my brother. Yeah, hey, God bless you, full armor bassin. Keep doing your thing, man. I love watching your videos. Amazed at how quick you produce a video. You had your video out and still haven't even looked my. I need to give you some of that footage, Mars. That's just muscle memory, dude. A lot of people freak out how quick I can do that. And to be honest with you, man, it's just repetition. I sort of you got to find your groove as an editor. And the problem with finding your groove is you always also, in addition to that, you want to always keep getting better. You know, adding things that are different every video. That's why I never really stick with like the same intro. I always mix it up because I like to keep that part of my brain moving. And editing is a completely different subject. I don't want to go too deep into that. I could talk to you guys about editing and where I draw inspiration from and how I sort of think of things, you know. We'll discuss that like on podcasts and stuff. That always kind of freaks people out, but let me see. Try before you buy if possible. Luis, great advice. Good stuff, man. Thanks. No problem, Mike. What's some of the pages or groups of tournaments that keep us North Texas guys up to date so we can plan to join? Keeps us North Texas guys up to date so we can plan to join in. I don't know if you, Chuggy, I don't know if you mean like groups that down here that will keep you guys up to date. If you are, there's Just Us Kayak Fishing. There's Texas Kayak Fishing, San Antonio. There's a couple groups there. Those guys are always updated between San Antonio and Corpus, but a lot of them are actually in Corpus. There's of course Texas Kayak Fishing, but that's general. There's Couples Fishing Texas. There's Kayak and Wade Fishing Texas. There's a 956 Kayakers page. There's a lot, dude, and I'm probably missing some. But you just gotta look for Kayak Fishing South Texas, I think is one. So many groups, dude. Up north, I don't know of too many, to be honest with you. I know Russ has a few that he is a part of, but I'm not familiar with those names. Let's see here. I meant an offshore skirt, but I'm sorry. RF. Okay. I'm sorry. Some of our terminology, I say skirt a lot for drifting, and I say teasers a lot for skirt that you're referring to. But no, your terminology is just as correct. Plastic skirts with a sinker. I'm very new to offshore kayak fishing. Okay, so, oh man, you're in some deep water, brother. 120 feet to 200 feet. I've been in that depth. I've actually been in more in Florida, but I've only used live bait, man. So with live bait and how I get my baits down is like if I'm using a goggle eye or a pilchard, you can nose hook it, and you can use a rubber band and rig a little sink weight around it, and there's a certain tie to where if a sailfish or something big hits it, that sink weight will bust and it'll sink down to the bottom. That's how you can get a goggle eye down there. But artificial, man, I would say depends on your current, depends on how fast the water is moving. I was hoping I had something to show you here. You can probably use like a 2-ounce egg weight, but that's tough, man. You are probably going to need to use something like this. Where is it? In Texas, I don't normally use this. I know I got one here. Where is it at? I guess I don't. So there are these plastic skirts that you can buy, and on the insides of the plastic skirt, you can slip a weight through them. And I have some here. And that's what I would use if I was you. We don't really... Oh, there they are. Okay, check this out. Hang on. Okay. If I were you, And if you need to get something in that deep of water, because the problem with using like a 2-ounce weight or a 3-ounce weight, if you're looking to build like a stinger rig, this is just stinger rigs, right? The problem is that once that weight is in that wire, whether you're using stainless steel piano wire, I don't know the weight that you use. In Texas, I go very light. I don't really go anywhere past 68 pounds. But if you don't use this skirt, like this kind of skirt right here, if you look on the inside of it, and this comes in different gauges, but if you look on the inside of it, you can actually put a slip weight. So what you do, what I would do if I were you in that depth, is I would put a slip weight, like an egg weight. It's going to be very, very tight. Wet it, put it in there, and then start building your leader from here. And that weight will ball up, and it's going to grab onto it real tight. But that's the weight that you're going to need. I would say like maybe even 3 ounces, 2 to 3 ounces, man, egg weights. Get those elongated ones, and then just start building it like a traditional stinger rig. If you're fishing and using something that would be ideal for a stinger rig, you can go like a short stock stinger rig. That's not an official term, but that's kind of like a dead bait or a live bait rig, which is just 1J and 1 treble. You got to space it out the right way, but that's another option. But that's a tough one for me to answer, only because I don't have a lot of experience in that 200 to 300. I've only been in that depth of water 4 times targeting sailfish, but I haven't been there enough to where I'm grinding and I'm learning that culture of consistently fishing in that depth, only because I don't live there, and I predominantly use live bait, because in that tournament we had to use live bait. They wouldn't even let us use these right here. So I have some buddies though that can guide you in the right direction on that. Are those Facebook forums, Luis? Yes, those are Facebook forums. Ruben, what's up, brother? Let's see, a couple tournaments down there. Chuck, man, yeah, come on down, dude. A limit of kingfish is my goal for 2020. Oh, dude, you can get that easy, man. You just got to come in the right time of year. Right time of year, dude. Here in the next 3 months, we should start getting those jacks. And then, dude, this year's been so weird, man. So weird, dude. We still have a lot of Spanish at the jetties, man. They've been here all winter. Usually they go, but yeah. Thank you, man. You called it perfectly. I'm from Florida. Thanks for the tip, brother. Yeah. Oh, you're from Florida. Oh, okay, yeah. Man, dude, so if you're from Florida, so I've fished Pompano Beach in Florida. I mean, if you're just trying to catch fish, dude, and not worry about all the technicalities and just keep it simple, just go straight leader, little offset J hook, maybe like a little owner tournament choice hook, and put a gog, dude. I mean, the simplest way would just be to nose hook it, get a little rubber band with the slip weight, put the rubber band through the slip weight, tie it around the line, and use that to get the goggle eye down there. Goggle eyes have big eyes, dude. It's sometimes kind of hard to get them down there, so you gotta give them a reason to. So yeah, hopefully the surf and swells won't be so radical. You just gotta pick your days, dude. That day that Chris picked was kind of gnarly, man. But he doesn't get a lot of opportunities to come down, so I understand why he, you got to do what you got to do, man, to get that saltwater cure. It was a fun day, though. I didn't fish too hard that day. I kind of enjoyed just watching you guys, man. It was fun. You guys did good that day catching the snapper and whatnot. So I was busy paddle rescuing. I had to pick up what's his name's paddle and give it to him, man. He flipped a couple times out there. That was crazy, man. I was surprised he got back up on his horse, though, in the third gut and cleared it. Like, that was Superman stuff right there, dude. Anyway, man, I just want to come out here and just say hi to you guys. I hadn't been on live in a while, man. It's been kind of busy. I'll recap it with this, or end it with this rather. The videos that are coming out again. You got Old Town, the 2020 review. Um, then you have top 5 ways of taking care of your reels, things that you can do, preventative stuff. And then I got a couple videos. We need to get out there with Ruben and film a little bit. And what else? Oh, and rigging. I'm going to show you guys what I did on rigging that kayak, the new one, for Twinkie Twinkie. And we're just going to... Oh, and then we have a Florida trip planned. We are going to... This year, dude, there's a new tournament that's formed. It is called the GOAT Tournament. It's in Navarre Beach. They have, due to the BP spill and some of the legality that and all the suing and stuff, they put an artificial reef there that's just about a mile out, and it's producing a lot of good quality fish. So we are going to be taking you guys over there this year, and we're going to be filming that event. So it'll probably be, we'll split it up in some series, because I think you guys like that. You know, you kind of like that cliffhanger, and then the story continues. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to actually finish up the series and release it like every Thursday. We'll release a new one to that series. And so that's the tournament that we are going to be filming this year, along with the tournaments that we have in Corpus as well. But out of state, we're headed there. So if any of you guys are in the Florida area and would like to catch up with us, fish with us, you can plan on the GOAT Tournament. You can look it up on Facebook or online. Registration is already open. And GOAT Tournament, greatest of all time tournament. It's cool, dude. The format is wild. It's different. I'd love to meet you guys there if y'all head out. I've never fished those waters, so it's going to be a lot of learning. I'm going to try and squeeze a trip over there, just a quick go and come. It's only about 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours from where we're at. So that's going to be the out-of-state trip that we're going to do. And there's some other things, dude, that I cannot discuss yet, but we will get into it as the year progresses. And we've got some big things this year, man. The best of NLF TV is definitely this year, and I'm excited, dude. I'm excited that and you know, you guys have been sticking with us. Some of y'all for years. Some of y'all may be new. Welcome. The show is a layered show. We have a full production show, then we have behind the scenes, and then we have our podcasting. So it's just like nonstop kayak fishing, like all year. We've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. And we've recently taken our game to the next level by actually pushing out a lot of content. Some people are like, man, how come you guys don't have a big following? You think we'd have this huge following with the production and some of the quality of work that we do? I'm not saying that. This is just coming from y'all's mouth. And the reason for that is because we've never put out a lot of content. We, like, for the first 3-4 years, we only do like 6 to 8 videos a year. So we never really followed that algorithm of, if you want to grow YouTube, boom, boom, you just got to start cranking content. Well, we just barely started that, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and we've seen a huge jump. So really our true YouTube careers, I feel like, sort of just started, man. You know, because we've just been busy, man. We do a lot, man. It's not just YouTube stuff. We have a huge following on Facebook. You know, we've built up a fan base of about 23,000, in addition to Instagram, Twitter, and then here, you guys on YouTube. And then we have a huge outreach with some of the publications. So we write for Saltwater Angler Magazine, which is sort of Gulf Coast-ish. I think they go now to Louisiana. But the big magazine that we participate in is Kayak Angler Magazine, which is now international. And then, of course, some of our videos compete internationally, and our first one finally won. It went on a world tour. So that was our first big break, man. It was this past year. And when I mean going on a world tour, like, we're actually competing against some pretty good people. Like, we competed against the guys on NBC Sports, on the the World Fishing Network, like guys who their roots have been in the market. Like, that's who we went up against, and we did, holy smokes, like we went to the finals, you know what I mean? So it was cool. And then our Selfish video got to tour 260 cities around the world in 2019, and I think they just stopped, in December. But it's just been our outreach. What I'm getting to is the reason a lot of that hasn't grown specifically on YouTube is because our outreach or the clout is big, and we're just some average Joes going out here fishing. You know what I mean? It's not like we have a staff of employment. So we sort of touch the industry in a lot of different areas, man. So, but this year, 2020, we're focusing hardcore on YouTube. So we're excited because everything else is sort of already set, and we're ready to go now and have fun. Hopefully meet a lot of you guys this year. So, all right, man. I don't want to be blowing y'all's ear out. Guys, y'all have a wonderful day, man. Be safe. Weather's been kind of bipolar in Texas, so be very careful, man. We've had a few rescues this past year already and this year. Just be smart, man. If there's any question or doubt about weather and you being out on the water, don't take it. And safety first, dude. Safety first, man. Always wear that PFD no matter what. Even if you're just in a foot of water, just have good practicing ethics, you know what I mean? If something bird hits you and knocks you out in the temple, I don't know. Anything can happen out there. Just be careful, man. I feel like I don't want to be the PFD police or anything. I'm not really that kind of person, but it's just kind of sad to see a lot of people that we've already lost this year and have been in trouble this year, and then we're barely starting 2020. And a lot of that is because we've got a lot more people on the water. So, yeah. All right. Hey, Slick Rack! Dude, what's up, man? I'm always excited to see you. All right, man. We all have a wonderful week. Peace, love, and lots of crabs, because that's what's going to catch you fish. Been waiting a year to say that.